it's Kelly with Soulful Creations, and today's tutorial will be on the Anna bag by Mekaposh. So you guys know, if you've been to my channel, if you've watched me, I've made a few Mekaposh patterns, and so she's a favorite of mine. And this one, I think, is my absolute favorite bag that she's done so far. So again, this is the Anna bag. I love the shape of it. It has snaps on the side. So the sides are cinched in right now. It gives it a whole entirely different look. You can just pop those snaps open, and you can carry it like this as well. Okay, and that gives you more access to the inside. Has a recessed zipper. Open that up, and you have a lovely fitting lining that has a zipper pocket with overlay and a slip pocket with trim. And you can, this is a nice wide slip pocket. You can divide it and have a double slip pocket, a divided slip pocket if you choose to. But I mean, it's just a great bag. Look at the detail on the front. I love this detail. You can take some scraps and you know, put 3 different vinyls here or whatever material you're using to match your exterior, and it looks so good. And look at the bottom here. Look at that bottom. It's so nice and smooth and straight. I love it. I love a nice bottom. So anyway, this is the Anna bag, as I said, and I'm so excited. There is an option to do a crossbody strap on this one. I chose not to do the crossbody strap, but if you want to do one, the instructions are there for a crossbody strap. She puts the connectors right into the lining, which is cool. So get this pattern, sew along with me, the Anna bag by Mekaposh. See it. Let's get ready. So we're going to get started on our Anna bag by making our handle connectors. So I have 3 handle connectors here, and they've already been made. They're already done. They've been edge painted, and I did mine 2-tone. So I have the black on one side, and then I have this snake print on the other side. So this is going to be the main side, and then I'm going to, when I fold this over onto my D-ring, in my rectangle ring, I'll see some of that snake coming through. So this is one option, or you can just do it all one color if you choose. So I have, like I said, I have the 3 here that are ready, and then I have 1. So the pattern has it where you can glue 2 pieces of vinyl together and then cut out your handle piece, your connector piece. I chose to cut out the connector from my black vinyl, and then I glued it onto the snake print. I find it easier that way, instead of trying to trace it out and then cut the 2 pieces together. I find I cut better when I'm only cutting through 1 layer of vinyl at a time, and that's just me. So there's different ways you can do it. So now that I have this, what I also do, what I want to mention that's not in the pattern, is I have already top stitched this part. So I started down here, and I left long tails, and I brought them to the back. I started here, and I top stitched up around this part, and then back down here, and I tied the tails to the back, because that part won't be seen when it's placed on the bag, because the pattern has you where you're just riveting the connector onto the bag. And I actually like to sew my connector on and then rivet. So I left this part unstitched. So when I go and put it on the bag, I'm going to start here where I left off, and I'm going to stitch it onto the bag here and then rivet. So that just gives a little more security than just rivets. So that's an option. So now, while I have it here, before I even cut it out, I'm going to go ahead and do that bit of top stitching, because I find it easier to control when it's on a bigger piece like this than if I cut it out first and then try to top stitch it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to start right here. And I'm just going to just go right around. And like I said, this part is just, it's not in the pattern, but it's just from, you know, experience with making bags. And I just always try to just have as much security and stability as I can accomplish. Because rivets can fail. Even though, you know, I do tend to just rivet my straps. But this is going to get a lot of, you know, handling back, holding the bag. It supports the bag. So I think it's important to add a little more stability there. Okay. So I'm just going to tie these off. Okay, so we're just going to tie that off, and then we can cut it out. I'll just keep that, make sure they don't come loose. Okay, now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut out. So I'm just going to follow the connector that's been cut out already. And just make sure I stay as straight as possible. Okay. Okay. There we go. And I'll just mention that the glue I used is, I used the Weldwood contact cement, which is the one I use for the most part. So I really like how it holds. So you'll see that all the edges are nice and sealed. Okay, it's not coming loose anywhere. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to take my I use the I guess it's pronounced Giardini. I use Max Matte Base Coat Dense, and I'm going to use that. I put it in a little container like this so that I'm not opening that big bottle and sticking my tool down in that big bottle. This makes it a little easier to control. And I'm just going to put a few coats on here. I think I use about 3 or 4 coats and let it and get it real built up on the ends. And then we're going to let each coat dry, and then I'm going to put the color. And I also use the Giardini color. So I have this one, and I'm just going to use black. And once I get this done and it's looking like these other 3, then they'll be ready for my bag. So this is what I'm going to be doing right now. And I'll come back after after I'm done doing this and the first coat, and while I'm letting it dry, we'll come back and continue working on the bag. And every so often I'll go and check it and see if it's dried enough to add another coat. So I'll do this and I'll be back with the next step in our Anna bag. So we're going to work on our front center panel now. So that decorative panel down the middle of the front. So these pieces make up that front panel piece. So we have the bottom here, and then this piece overlaps that, and then we have the top here that overlaps. So you'll have those three pieces. So I have already marked out a 1/4 inch on these two pieces and put some double-sided tape. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the paper off this one. And I'm going to get that on. So just lining it up with that 1/4 inch mark. In place here. Okay. Now, keep in mind, these are raw edges. So if you need to edge coat your raw edges, go ahead and do that. I edge coated this one because this one will be showing and it's going to be overlapping. So I did put a little edge coat, as you can see from the back. I put a little edge coat on this one. I didn't need to put it on the black vinyl because it already has a black back. So just keep that in mind if you don't want to see the edge of your vinyl showing. Okay, so now I'm just going to top stitch this on each side. So I'm going to top stitch onto the black 1/8 of an inch there, and I'm also going to top stitch at the right below. Okay, so we're doing 2 rows of top stitching there. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and you can back stitch a little here. Okay, so I have that row, and now I'm going to top stitch right below 1/8 of an inch below that. Okay. So now it should look like that, and then I'll repeat with these 2 pieces. And we're going to top stitch again. Okay, so now this part is done, and so now we're going to grab the side pieces that finish up the front panel. So let me grab those pieces. And I'm using the black vinyl, so I have 2 of those cut mirrored. And I've got a little marking pen on there. Okay, so we're going to have 1 on this side, and we'll have 1 on this side, just like that. So we're going to take this side and we're going to put it right sides together. We'll clip this straight edge, and then we're going to sew it together at 1/4 inch. And then we'll do the other side, fold that over, right sides together, and we're going to sew that one the same way. Thought I was holding the wrong thread. Holding on to the wrong thread. Oh, my eyeballs allow me to get this threaded. Okay, sometimes it'll just pop right in, and sometimes it doesn't. Alrighty, let's start that again. All right, so now we're going to open up those seams, and we're going to top stitch on both sides. So we're going to press those seams open. Okay. And it may be a little difficult if your vinyl doesn't want to stay open, so you can use some double-sided tape if that'll help. But if you don't want to sew through double-sided tape, then we're just going to have to make sure. So I like to just hold it, get it started, and just make sure I keep checking and making sure that the seam is staying open as I go. So I'm just going to start on one side. Okay. And I'll just keep pulling it, and I just keep my finger up under there, and I'll just be making sure every couple of inches or so, and I'll just lift it back up and press that seam open. Okay, and now I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to go to the other side and turn it this way, and then come back up. Come back down this way. And the other side should be easier to keep open now that that one side is open. But still, just make sure you check. Make sure you feel and check that it's open. Jazzy, can you turn my heat press on? And because we're going to need it soon to apply our stabilizer once we're done top stitching. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to just repeat the top stitching on this side. So again, just get it started here, press it open. Okay, and then turn this way, pivot over, and then come up. And we're just top stitching on both sides of the seam. Alrighty. So now we have that done. And that's what our front is looking like. I like that. A little snaky there, right? So we have our front panel. We should have our back panel cut, and it should match up. So just make sure you double check. And if your seam allowances were correct, your front should match your back. Mine do. Yay me. And then you're going to grab your stabilizer pieces, which, what did I do with my stabilizer? Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. What did I do with my stabilizer pieces? Okay. Well, I do know that I cut them out. So, oh, here they are. Okay. So I'm using Decovil Light. This is just a black version of Decovil Light. And we're going to fuse our stabilizer on to the back. Now you can, the pattern says Decovil Heavy, but depending on your materials you choose, it might be a little too, because this pattern, the sides have snaps that cinch in, so you snap them and it cinches the sides in. I thought Decovil Heavy would make it too difficult to cinch those sides in. It would make it too stiff. So I'm using Decovil Light. So keep that in mind with the materials that you have. Choose your stabilizers appropriately. Okay, so remember, because the patterns, they give you suggestions on the stabilizers based on, you know, the bags that they've made, and, you know, testers and things like that. but it's not, you know, written in stone. You can make a decision based on the materials that you use. So we're going to make some marks on the back so we get our stabilizer situated properly. So we're going to mark out 1 inch from the top. Okay. Well, the dog is protesting to something out there. Okay. Okay. 1 inch from the top and 3/4 inches from the bottom. Okay. And we'll do the same thing for this one. Okay. Then I'm going to take it over to my heat press. I'm going to be using my Cricut Easy Press. It's set at 325. I press for about 15 seconds, moving it around a bit. Little mist for steam, and let it sit for a few minutes, for a little bit, and then we'll come back. So I'll be back after I get my stabilizer in place, and then we'll continue with our Anna bag. So now I have marked out the placement for the connectors on the front and the back panel using the pattern piece. I also marked out where we're going to place the snaps on the back and the front. That's also on the pattern piece. So we're going to put the female snaps on the front and the male snaps on the back. So before I put my connectors on, I'm going to go ahead and install the snaps. So I'll move the back out of the way. I have my 2 pieces for my front, for the front snap. So I have these 2 and these. So these little, this part that would normally show on the outside on the snap, that's going to actually be on the back. And this is the part that's going to be exposed to on the exterior. So I have cut out a couple of pieces, some pieces of Peltex too, just to give it a little extra stability here. So I'm just going to insert this through the hole in the back. Okay, give that a good press, make sure that's in good, and then put this piece on top. Okay, and I have this little piece here that from my manual setting tool here, and then this one. So I forget what size snaps these are, but the setting tool is excuse me, is number 633. So I'd have to look that up to see what size snaps that fits. And I forget. Okay, so we're going to set that in there, and then we're just going to hit it a couple of times with the hammer. That was more than a couple. Okay, and make sure it's on really good and tight. That's one. And then we'll do the same thing with the other. Get that on. That up there. Get that in place and stick that right down in that hole. Yeah. Okay. And so now our snaps are on good and tight right there. And then we're going to do the male portion of the snaps. So we'll flip this piece over. And again, I have my couple of pieces of Peltex here. I'll swap out now we need this tool with the little little carve out there, the little that sits over. It sits over the little nub there on the snap. And we're going to put this piece in. So we have the one with the longer post, and this is the one that's going to go up through the back. Maybe I didn't punch this hole good enough. Maybe punch this hole. Okay, get that in there. And get that on the back. And then we'll take the one with the shorter post and put that right on top. And then it sits here. We'll put this over there. And again, give it a couple of hits. Okay, and get that on good. And do the last one. And now, the next thing we want to do is make sure, just always test your snaps. So I'm just going to snap these together and make sure. See, that one is not, there we go. I didn't have it in right. Okay. So you just want to make sure that your snaps are working properly and that they're good and secure. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So they go in nice and tight. Okay, so that's good. So now I have all 4 of my connectors done. They're edge painted. I have punched the holes. I used the little piece, the pattern piece, to punch the holes for the rivets here on the top. And I have 4 3/4 inch rectangle rings. Okay, and so remember I'm going to go here. I'm going to have the black side showing at the bottom, and then when it turns over like that, I'm going to have the snake skin showing. So I'm going to slide my rectangle ring on. Okay, well, here's the part that I'm doing differently that I forgot. Hold off on that. I'm going to take the paper off the double-sided tape. And then I'm going to place my connector. Because remember, I want to top stitch mine on first before I rivet them in place. So in order to do that, I need to place this on. So I'm going to get this in place. And you only have to do it this way if you want to top stitch your connector on first. I'm going to make sure I have these in the same spot there. Okay. Let's move this up just a tiny bit there. Okay. And that looks pretty even there. Just want to make sure they're evenly spaced. Okay. That looks good. Okay, that looks good. So now where I left off on the top stitching, I'm going to start there and I'm going to top stitch down across the bottom and back up. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave long tails. Okay. I'll pull this one to the back. Just get it out the way here. And continue my top stitching. Those tools trying to get out of it. There we go. Okay. Bring that to the back there. So this just gives me a little more security. I feel a little more comfortable that my connector will be on nice and secure. Okay. Tie that off. And then the same thing on this one. Okay. So now I have this connectors on. Then I could place my D-ring, or my rectangle ring, I should say. And then this gets folded over. Okay. Just like that. And then I can mark the placement for the rivets onto this part and punch those holes. Okay. So now I know where my rivet holes go. I'm going to use my Japanese hole punch.
You don't want any unwanted holes.
Yes, no. Just recently I punched through my gusset. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to get that in. Oops. The whole thing came off. It happens sometime with this thing. Gets a little sticky. Did I go all the way through? Went all the way through. Okay, and then this one. That one didn't go all the way through. All right, we're all the way through. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my rivets. Okay, so I'm just showing you how it's going to go. And then I'm going to put the other 3 connectors on. And then we shall come back. Not yet, Jazzy. Jazzy's ready to shut me off.
My bad.
Let me finish with this. I did say we'll be back, huh? That's the key.
That's the trigger.
That's the trigger for Jazzy to... I might need my longer rivets, but we'll see. If these don't go all the way through, then I'll get my longer ones. Oh, that's good. We don't want too much sticking out. Okay. All right. Oh, that looks good. I like the way that looks. Okay, I'm going to set that real quick so we can take a look at it. Looky. Look at how that looks. And I like that. Okay. So now I'll go back. I'll go and I'm going to do the same thing for the other 3. The 1 on front and the 2 on the back. And then we will return. Now, Jazzy. Now I have all 4 connectors on the front and the back. And I think they look gorgeous. So now we're going to get ready to put the bottom on. So you should have your bottom piece cut. I go ahead and I fuse my stabilizer on. So I have Decovil Heavy fused to the bottom of my stabilizer. But if you want to wait and add your stabilizer at the end, after you've sewn it together, you can do that as well. I just find it easier to have it already on. So I have marked the midpoints on both long sides of my base. I have marked the midpoints on the bottoms of my exterior pieces. And now I'm just going to match that up. And we're going to sew our base on at 3/8. Okay, get that. Okay. And once you get that on, you're going to turn your base down, and the seam allowance should automatically go towards the base. And we're going to top stitch through the base 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so now we have that on. We're going to get our back piece, and we're going to do the same thing. So match up the midpoints. And sew it on 3/8. I need to change that bobbin soon. I hear it rattling. Okay. Now, before I top stitch, I'm going to change my bobbin because I think it's low. So I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, you think it's low. That's all I had there. I wouldn't have made it. So put another bobbin on. It wasn't going to make it. Okay, so now I'm going to top stitch this side. Again, bringing that seam allowance toward the base. Alright, looking good so far. Okay. So now if you're going to install purse feet, now's the time. So I'm going to grab my ruler here and I'm going to mark out where we're going to put our purse feet. So 1 inch from the seam here and 2 inches up from the side. So right there. Okay, that's 1. And that's 2. And okay. So now that I have my marks for my purse feet, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch a hole very carefully. And I'm going to get my purse feet installed here. Alrighty. And I'm going to grab my duct tape. Oh, did the boys get me for my duct tape again, Jazzy?
Is it not there?
No. They got me again for my duct tape. Oh no, here it is. Okay, falsely accused.
Every time I get up
Sorry, Jazzy.
to look for something, you find it.
I'm just keeping you on your toes, girl. Just keeping you on your toes. Okay. So, and I put a piece here. Here. And here. It's all good. There we go. Alrighty. It's starting to look like a bag here, right? Alright. So now we're going to bring these right sides together. And we're going to start at the side here. And we're going to clip the sides. And we're going to sew them together with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. My heat press is shutting off. Okay. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get ready to sew this bottom together. Okay, and so in order to do that, make it easier, we need to put some snips right here, not in the base, but in the panels, the front and back panels. So I'll go about 3/8 of an inch in, and then go and clip, but not into your stitches. Just clip just right before you get to your stitches. So just put in a little snip there, and that's going to help us be able to sew this a little easier here. Okay. Snip. Hopefully that'll work there. Hopefully I snipped that in the right place. And then I forgot to mark the centers of the short sides of my base, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. Okay, so that I can match it up here. So I'm just gonna open up the seam here and match it to the midpoint on the side here of my base. Get that. Okay. And that little snip just helps it to lay flatter here as we get ready to stitch this. Okay, so you can stitch it with it standing up like this. I find that the easiest. And we're going to sew this at 3/8. So I just press this down, get it up under there. I'm gonna get that sewn. Keep it lined up good. This is trying to push out, so I just want to keep it lined up. Don't want it to push outward. There we go. Okay, so we got that side done. Okay, just check and make sure looks good. Okay, and now we're going to do this side. So open up the seam, matching up the midpoints, clipped. Just stand that up. We're going to turn it out and hopefully it looks good. But first, I'm going to trim this down to about 1/4 inch. Just trim this down. Alrighty. You could trim some of this off too if you want. Just trim it down just a little, but not all the way to the top, because we want to leave some at the top, because we're going to open up that seams at the top for our drop in. So just kind of veer off and just kind of trim just right in the middle part here. Like that. And get some of that bulk off. Okay, now we're going to turn this out. Now, since I have my stabilizer on my base, it's going to be a little stiffer. I got to be careful. I'm just going to roll it out carefully. Hopefully it doesn't wrinkle too much. Get that turned out. Let's see what that looks like. Push those corners out. Alright. That looks right pretty. Nice pretty bottom. Look at that bottom. Looking pretty good, huh?
No.
Jazzy's so awful. Rotten child she is. Okay, and then we're going to check these snaps. On the side. Start seeing what it's looking like here. Yes, sir. That looks good. It's looking cute. Isn't that looking cute, Jazzy? Don't say no, Jazzy.
Yes, Mom.
Okay, so we get to start getting the lining pieces together, and we will be right back. Now we're going to get ready to do our zipper panel. So you should have your 2 zipper panel pieces, your zipper tape, your zipper pull. And so I have already marked the 1/2 inch from each end of my zipper panels and apply some double-sided tape, because we're going to fold in the raw edges to that 1/2 inch line. So we're going to do that on all 4 ends. Okay. And my zipper tape has been prepared. It's with the 90-degree angles on both sides. So you can read the instructions for that if you're not sure how to do that. I figure most are, but the instructions are clear on how to do that. Okay. And we're going to do this and here. Okay. So now once we have that done, we're going to find the centers of our zipper panels. Okay. We're going to make a little mark there. And there. Okay. And this one. Okay. Now we're going to take our zipper tape and let's see. I want to make sure these line up perfectly before I do that. Make sure that they are the same and marked in the same spot. Okay. And they are. Okay. So now I'm going to separate my zipper tape. I'm going to take 1/2. I'm going to place it so the raw edge of my zipper tape is right at that mark, that center mark. So the teeth should be right at the center mark. And I'm going to clip that in place. You could also use some double-sided tape to hold it in place if you want. And we're just going to base this side on here. I like to base one side first before I sew the whole thing. So you're going to get that basted in place. Okay, go all the way. Stop just before you get to the end of your zipper panel. You don't want to sew right off the edge. Just go right up to it and back stitch. Okay. And then once you have that basted on, we're going to fold this back. So right sides together. And we're going to match up these folds on the end. Make sure everything is lined up, matched up good. Okay. And then finish clipping it. And then we're going to sew that on at 1/4 inch. Or if you prefer 3/8 for your zippers, you can do that too. And again, right before you get to the end, you want to get right to the end. Don't go off the edge and then back stitch. Okay. Okay. And now I'm just going to trim away right up here at the top. Just trim a little. Don't trim into your stitches. Just trim that little bit. And if you want, you can also trim some of this bulk off here, right off the end. Again, not into your stitches. This just helps decrease some of that bulk right there. So I just cut a little bit off right at the bottom. And then we're going to turn this out carefully. And push the corners out. If you need to, just tug on your zipper a little bit to make sure it's pulled all the way out. Okay, and then we're going to match up the raw edges here. Line everything up. Clip it in place. Now this vinyl, I didn't need any interfacing, but if your vinyl is particularly thin, you might have needed just a little, maybe some Decovil Light or something, just out of the seam allowance, just to give it a little more stability. But my vinyl, I didn't need it. Okay, so this is the right side. I'm just making sure my zipper's pulled out. Everything's looking nice and even. And now I'm going to top stitch around the whole thing. And I'm going to start on the raw edge side so that I can back stitch without it being seen later. And if you have too much bulk here at the back where the zipper is, you can take some pliers and you can just kind of press that down right there and just kind of squish it down some, and it distributes some of that so that it's not so bulky right there. And then continue with your top stitching. Make sure you keep that zipper pulled away nice and even. Go across the top here. that done. Okay. So we have 1/2 of our recessed zipper done. Okay, so 1/2 done. Now we just need to repeat that with the other half. So this one will go on the opposite side, right side up. Again, line up the teeth with that midpoint. I'm gonna get it clipped in place, get it basted on. Now fold that back, right sides together. Okay, lining up everything. And then we're going to sew 3 at 1/4 inch, rather. Went off the deep end. Okay, and I'm going to trim here. Ooh, that went flying at you, Jazzy. You should see. I was trying to see if you were paying attention, and you were not paying attention. Okay, push that out. Get that pushed out nice and neat. Get this clipped together. Pull that out. And now we're ready to give it a good top stitch. Okay, I'm going to give this a little squeeze with the pliers. Okay, we got the other half done. Now the moment of truth. Will they match up when we put our zipper pull on? Alrighty. So grab my zipper pull. Let me get that on and lined up. And voila. Yay, it's all lined up nicely. All right. So now go get the rest of our lining pieces together and we will continue again. We're trying to make this Anna bag from Mekaposh. Be back. All right, for the sake of time, and then also the fact that I have done these steps in many videos. If you're new to my channel, you can watch any of my other Mekaposh videos, and you will see how I do the zipper pocket with overlay and the slip pocket with trim. And I also have a zipper pocket with overlay video. I'll put the link in the description if you need it. But I went ahead and I did the zipper pocket. So my zipper pocket's done. And then I did my slip pocket. So I'm using this Ripstop fabric. So it's not as heavy as waterproof canvas. It does have, does this one have the PVC? Yeah, this one have the PVC backing. So I think it's 300 denier, whereas the waterproof canvas the Autotex waterproof canvas I usually use is 600. So this is much lighter, and I'm going with this, and I love this color. So anyway, so get your two lining panels, your complete lining panels, your two lining tops, and your recessed zipper. Now, I am not doing the crossbody strap. I just decided I don't want to put a crossbody strap on this one, but follow the directions in the pattern if you're going to do a crossbody strap, because the connectors get sewn into the lining. So pay attention to that part. Pause here and go take a look at the instructions if you want to add the connectors for the crossbody strap. But again, I'm not doing a crossbody strap. So, okay, so we're going to proceed as if we have completed that step. So now I am going to take my recessed zipper. I've marked the midpoints on both sides. I marked the midpoints on my lining panels, and I marked the midpoints on the bottom of my lining tops. One thing I need to do here is, because we're doing a drop-in lining, we need to mark the drop line on our lining tops. So we're going to mark 1 inch from the top. So 1 inch from the top. Okay. And then now we can get ready to put it all together. So I'm going to take my lining panel with the zipper. I'm going to place my zipper panel right sides up on top of this, making sure the zippers are closing in the same direction. And I'm going to clip this in place, and I'm going to baste it on 1/8 of an inch. And once we get that basted on, then we're going to take one of our lining tops, and we're going to place it right sides together, making sure it's the bottom. So you can see that the sides are angled like that. So you want the wider side lined up with the top of your lining. Get that clipped on, and we're going to sew this on at a 1/4 inch. Okay. And then once we get that done, we're going to flip everything up like that. And then we're going to top stitch through the lining. So 1/8 of an inch from the seam here. All right, so that side is done. Now I can connect it this way and keep it all together, or I can just go ahead and unzip and just work with this half, which is what I like to do. So now we're going to put the other half of our zipper up overlay right side up on our other lining piece here with the slip pocket, and we're going to base that in place. So we're going to repeat those steps on this side. And then add our lining top. And sew that on. Okay, and now we're going to top stitch just like we did before, flipping everything up and back, seam allowance down towards the lining, and top stitch. All right, so there we go. We have our two lining pieces with the top lining, the lining top. Now we're going to put them right sides together, and we're going to make sure we're matching it up on the sides, and we're going to sew this together, sew the sides together at 3/8. Okay, and then do the other side, making sure you don't sew over your zipper tails here. Line that up, matching up here. All right, and now we're going to sew the bottom up. Same seam allowance, 3/8. Right, and now we're going to do the box bottom. So we're going to pull this out. Those corners pulled out. Okay, and we're going to match up the seams, the middle seams, line it up. I push one seam allowance to one side and one to the other. And we're going to get that clipped. And we're going to sew this at 1/4 inch. And make sure it's spread out good. Okay. So that side's done, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So just pull those corners out. And get our seams pushed to the correct side. Nest it in there. Clip it. Here comes the dog. Get out of here, doggy. Here, click clacking. He's like, what are you guys doing? He knows he's not allowed in here. Okay. Okay, now we have our lining complete. Yes, yes, yes. Our exterior is complete. Our lining is complete. Now we just need to, we're going to, well, you can either use glue or you can use double-sided tape. I'm going to use double-sided tape, and I'm going to fold down to that drop line. So I'm just going to start over here. I'm going to put tape across the top here, across the top edge. I'm just using this 1/2 inch double-sided tape. I'm going to tape across. And this bag, it can be birthed as well if you're not a fan of drop-in linings. It can definitely be birthed. You can leave the bottom open and just pull it through the bottom, and then pull that bottom through your pocket and sew it up. So if you do not like drop-ins, that's an option. Okay, so now I have that on. Now I'm just going to start peeling back the paper and folding this down to that 1 inch line, matching the seams. My chalk line is barely visible. I know you probably can't see, but I can see it. Here, match these seams. Okay. Turn this around. Okay. So there, that is done there. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the exterior. Remember, we had already drew our line earlier on the exterior, which I use chalk. It's very light. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do the exterior the same way. And then we'll come back and drop it in and do the top stitching. All right. So I went ahead and clipped it all together so that you didn't have to watch me doing that task. And the lining fits great. Everything fit together just right. So now we're going to top stitch. So I'm going to top stitch from the inside because I have this flatbed machine. I'm going to leave long tails so that I can pull it up through the seam when I'm done. Okay, so here we go. Just getting it where I want. I'm gonna hold these tails there. Get my needle dropped in, And now we're ready to roll. Okay. I just take my time and make sure. By the way, I changed to a fresh needle and a bobbin because sometimes top stitching, it just does not like the old needle. So okay, and hopefully everything's looking dandy. Okay, so I'm going to turn this a little. Okay. Make sure everything is staying lined up. Sorry if you're having a hard time seeing. Okay. And just ever so often, I'll rotate it a little, keeping the zipper tails out of the way. Keep that back out of the way. Okay. And when I get ready to get over here on this seam, I've already kind of used my pliers to flatten it down some. Okay. So it should be okay. But I am going to use this little piece of vinyl here that I have. And I'm going to get over that hump. I use it as a hump jumper. Hopefully to keep my stitches even. Okay. Okay. If not, I'll have to fix it. How am I looking over there, Jazzy? My stitches looking okay?
Yes.
Alrighty. Okay, I'm pushing those rectangle rings back out of the way so it doesn't cause me any unnecessary lumpiness. Okay, I'm getting back over here where we have a seam again. I'm going to get this under there. I'm going to pull my thread together here because I'm getting close to where I started. All right, there we go. Pull that thread through on the outside here. So, all right. Okay, Jazzy. We made it around. Okay. So let's see what we got here. I'm just checking, and everything looks great. Not a wibble wobble in place. Hey, hey, hey. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. Grab my needle. Okay. We able to see this good, Jazzy? Because I think I always go a little too high and cut this off. So I'm going to go this way. Okay. So I just thread this needle with all 4 threads. When I can. Okay. And then now I'm going to go right here. So the thread, I have a thread coming out here. I have a thread coming here and 2 threads coming here in the middle. So I go up through that center hole there. And then I'm going to pull this open, pull the seam open. And I'll just get my needle right up through there. Like that. Just like that. And just give it a little tug. And then I'm just going to tie it off. And that's how I hide my threads so you don't see where I started or stopped. There's no back stitching. Just give that a little trim. I put a little glue in there. Make sure they don't come poking back out later. And that, my friends, is the top stitching done. So I just like to put a little bit of glue on the end of my stiletto. Just a little bitty. And then just run it right through the seam there. And push down on those threads. Okay. And just give it a little pinch to close it up. Okay. All right. So there she goes. All right. This is such a cute bag. So now we just need, I'm going to put my zipper pull on. Put my zipper pull back on. I need to put a zipper end on. And I know, to Jazzy's dismay, I did not do my handles yet. I know, Jazzy. I know. Shame on mama. Shame. For shame. Okay. So this side, we're going to train this here to pinch in. So it kind of gives you 2 looks to this bag. When it's closed, looks like that. So cute. It's so cute, isn't it, Jazzy? Mm-hmm. Okay. Jazzy's like, why does she do this every time? Why? But I'm sorry. It's so cute. I'm not even mad I didn't put a label on this bag. Jazzy's been slipping.
What did I do?
Because you should have said, Mom, you didn't put a label.
Oh, my bad.
On your bag. Okay. So I'm going to sew up these handles real quick. So you should have your 2 handles. I'm going to get those sewn up. I'm going to mark the centers here. I got 3-inch. So I'm going to mark. Uh-oh. What happened? What happened to my... I got to get a new one. This one is starting not to turn anymore. And then I don't know where my other one went. It just kind of disappeared. Okay. But that didn't... Let's see. Nope.
Not drawing.
Nope. I don't know where my other one went. Somebody came in here, did something, took it. I don't know. But I'll just grab a pen. I'll just grab a pen here. I should be able to see the pen mark, even though it's black, but I'll be able to see it. Okay. I don't know what happened. I don't know where the other one went. So I gotta get some more. Okay. But it's all good. You never know. One of you children came in here.
Shoot, I know better.
Whew. Okay, so now we're going to put the double-sided tape down the center. Uh-oh. My phone's ding-donging, Jazzy.
Here.
We forgot to turn it off.
I fixed it.
You fixed it? Thank you,
I think
Jazzy.
it's moving now.
Okay, thank you. Where's my phone so we can shut it off?
I'll find it.
Shame, shame, shame. Okay. Okay. And sew up these straps real fast. I keep forgetting to order some strap-ins too. I every time. Used to have a bunch of them, and then when I ran out, every time I order something, I always forget about strap-ins. Okay, so just folding in these raw edges here. Go down. I'm going to sew these up very quickly so we can get the final look on this bag. Why is that sounding goofy under there? Oh, it's not. I thought it sounded funny. It does sound weird. I'm gonna have to check my machine. You hear that?
Yeah.
Sounds a little click-clacky. Maybe it's time for some more oil.
You sure you're not just hearing your bobbin?
Maybe so. I don't know. Look at you thinking you know something.
As much time as I spend in here, I should know at least a little something.
I know. I'm still waiting for you to make that bag, girl. We got to get you going.
I'll make one on video.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah. Just so your subscribers can laugh at me.
Uh-oh. Got the confidence going, huh?
No, did you hear what I said?
Oh, so they can laugh? They would not laugh at you.
They'll be laughing.
I have the best...
Have people screaming at the screen.
Best subscribers in town. They would never laugh at you.
Girl, they would laugh at you too.
They laugh with us, Jazzy.
Okay.
Not at us. There's a difference. Okay. It's okay. It's okay to laugh at our follies.
I laugh at yours all the time.
Ooh. Well, this little sassy girl. I'm sure I give you plenty to laugh at.
Do I make you laugh?
Mm-hmm. Every time I look at you.
Oh, okay.
Score one for mama. Okay, so now get this one. Yeah, I'm for sure not liking the way this is sounding. So it's a good thing I'm almost done so I can check and clean it. Maybe it's tired. He's a little tired. Like me. We're going to watch the new Planet of the Apes movie tonight.
Yeah.
This is on Hulu. Okay, there we go. We got our handles all done. So now we're going to get those put on our bag. So let's slide those through. And I'm just going to put a clip and get that riveted on. Make sure we have them even here. Okay, looks about. Oh, this is such a cute bag. It's so cute. Mekaposh. You done good, Mekaposh. But you always do good. I'm not surprised. Okay. Make sure. I'm just eyeballing it. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. That's so cute. That's so cute, so cute, so cute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to rivet the handles on, and then we'll be back. We'll be back. All right, there she is, you guys. The Anna bag by Mekaposh. It's all done, and it's a beauty, if I do say so myself. Look at that. Such a nice bottom. I like that it can have two looks. When you open up the snaps on the side, gives you a better access to the inside. It's nice and roomy. Everything fits so nicely. Love it, love it, love it. So here's the deal. The pattern link will be in the description as usual. I'll try to list as many of the things that I used in this video as I can recall. And please get the pattern. This is such a good pattern. I think an advanced beginner can do it. It wasn't too difficult. You don't have to do a drop-in. You can birth this one if you don't like drop-ins, like I said. Make sure you get some strong snaps on the side. You can use magnetic snaps, but just make sure they're really strong, because the bag will have a tendency to pop open. And don't use too much fluffy stabilizer like foam or anything like that, because you'll have too much bulk there for the snaps to stay closed. So that's about it. Thank you for watching me make the Anna bag today. I hope you'll give it a try. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you for joining me again. And again, if you're new to my channel, please, I hope you come back. I'll be bringing more tutorials your way. You guys all have a good one. Happy sewing.